Make no mistake about it, engaging in rideshare, whether you're driving for Uber or Lyft, is a dangerous side hustle. We talk about drivers that meet bad outcomes all the time, and we always suggest you keep a defensive tool on you, whether it is mace or pepper spray, something to slice or poke wood up to, and including a firearm if you're comfortable. But what about defensive driving skills? Now, I understand this is way beyond anything that should ever be recommended, but I want you to check out this story because this is outrageous.
We begin at 11 with the story of a rideshare driver whose evasive driving skills may have saved his life when a passenger attacked him. Thanks for joining us, everybody. I'm Sean Yancey.
I'm Jim Adley. That passenger was armed with a knife. The driver had only his car to try to defend himself. The driver says the attack happened on the Beltway Friday near New Hampshire Avenue. The driver swerved back and forth, bouncing between lanes, trying to shake off his attacker.
Only on News 4, our Jackie Benson spoke with the driver. A warning: this story contains images of the victim's injuries, which some may find disturbing.
Stay alive. Stay alive, that's it.
The rideshare driver, we're not using his name or showing his face, says he picked up a passenger in a residential area of Rockville just after 2 a.m. Friday. He says things immediately got weird as they drove. The man asked the driver if he could help change a tire, then asked him to stop the car so he could relieve himself. As they got onto the Beltway, heading to Silver Spring, the driver says he watched in the rearview mirror as the passenger pulled something out of a bag. It was a steak knife.
All I'm seeing is this, lunatic coming after me with a knife. So I'm just thinking, every time he swings, I'm just like, where's that knife going to land?
His wounds show how the driver, a fit 32-year-old who has done boxing, wrestling, and combat sports since he was a child, fought for his life.
And I started driving crazy, so he wasn't really stable in the back seat. He kept falling from side to side. And I was just trying to buy myself enough time to stop.
The driver managed to stop on the Beltway and pull the man out of the car. A passing motorist he later learned was a security officer stopped to help.
The guy was still off. He was trying to go after my car. He's going after me. And so the security guy has to tase him almost as soon as he shows up.
Minutes later, police arrived and arrested 38-year-old Renga Pratama of Rockville. The victim remains in pain and in shock. He says he had planned to drive only for another couple weeks as he prepares to start his own tech company. And sadly, it is not the first traumatic incident he's had while driving rideshare.
I got carjacked before years ago, and I thought that something like this would never happen again.
Pratama is currently facing charges of attempted first-degree murder and assault. In Rockville, Jackie Benson, News 4.
Was only going to drive for 2 more weeks, had his own startup, or he's only going to get into his own business. And here he is, stabbed all about the hand and body. You hear the newscaster say he's in pain. Stab wounds hurt. Stab wounds hurt. Even though you see the wounds only carry 1 or 2 stitches, who knows how deep that is? I mean, that does hurt, certainly if it's on a part of your body that's bending, or a bending area, or defensive wounds on the hand, like in the web of the fingers and things like that. That shit hurts. Now, in this case, we mentioned defensive driving because it sounds like this driver was unarmed and had to use the momentum of gravitational forces to defend himself. This is crazy, folks. This one is really crazy that he's driving down the highway. He's on the Beltway, so he's going at highway speeds. And his only defense is putting the passenger, his assailant, through G-forces to essentially throw the passenger's body control off. I mean, I don't know what else to say in this. Now, keep in mind, the story tells you that this individual, the victim in this case, the driver, was a physically fit 32-year-old man that basically has been involved in contact sports. So you can safely assume that if this 32-year-old driver was a 68-year-old retiree, he'd probably be dead. If he was not someone physically capable, fighting for his life simply by swerving the car back and forth, he'd have probably been dead. They did fortunately charge this driver with exactly what he should have been charged with, attempted murder. But he really hurt this driver. I mean, now the driver's only going to drive, according to the story, was only going to drive for 2 more weeks anyway. So I'm assuming he's done with this. But this is, we've been we've always suggested providing, maintaining defensive tools on you, but I don't even know if encouraging people to practice driving defensively, like in this case where you got to know how to swerve the car and do all kinds of crazy shit to keep somebody from killing you. You shouldn't have to do this stuff as a gig worker. It's crazy to even begin suggesting someone learn how to drive defensively. Now, we've had other stories similar to this. Well, not where swerving the car was keeping the driver alive, but we've had stories where drivers were shot at when folks put, obstacles in the middle of the street to prevent a driver from passing and try to carjack him or something like that. And even in those cases, you need to know how to drive defensively to go around shit that suddenly appears in your path because someone means you harm. Not to mention folks getting in front of your car and things like that. I hate to say it, but it's getting to the point where sometimes you got to run a motherfucker over just to live. But in this case, I don't really know what the driver could have done. Other than the moment you started hearing this person talking really crazy, it might be time to pull the car over and get out of the car and tell him he has to get out as well. Anytime someone refuses to get out of your car, assume they are a danger to you. And we all have passengers like that. If you're engaged in ride sharing for any length of time, you're going to have a passenger that does not want to get out of your car. I don't care if they're putting a baby in without a car seat, too many passengers for the amount of seat belts you have. You got drunks that want to bring their drink in their car with them. Anytime you tell a passenger, I'm sorry, I cannot take this trip, be prepared for some resistance. And if the person puts up resistance, expect the worst. Don't ever just sit in your seat with someone behind you telling them to get out and expect that they won't try to do you harm. It just happens too much. It really just happens too much. But I wanted to just bring this to you because this is the first time I've ever seen someone literally using gravitational forces to fight for their life. Just swerving the car. First time in ride sharing that I've ever seen somebody have to do this. Now, the 38-year-old they charged with attempted murder, which 38 is not that old either, which is why we stated if he was dealing with a senior citizen, he would have probably killed the guy. But once the guy started asking to get out and change a tire and things like that, you got to pay attention to those cues. We all get crazy, overly talkative passengers. Let the man out and drive off. If you think it's something crazy, like in this case, he started talking crazy. Then he asked if he could get out and take a piss or whatever the case may be. Maybe that would have been the time once he got out to take a piss to hit the door lock and drive off, cancel the trip. Sometimes you got to do that. I understand the ride-sharing companies are not on our side. They're going to believe any damn thing the passenger says. You may get retaliation against you by the company for canceling trips, but it's better than having a bunch of stitches all over your body. Anyhow, folks, stay safe. I don't know where else to go with this one other than to say it's a disgrace. It's your boy, Tim. Feel free to smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next video.